wakaaji ya kaunti ya Uasin Gishu. Sisi kama kaunti ya Uasin Gishu tunakumbuka rais wa tatu Mheshimiwa Kibaki, wa barabara, wa stima na sana sana
watu wa Kenya, na tunajivunia Kenya yetu. Basi tuendelee kama kawaida, tuchaguane na tutamaliza, na tunajua tutashinda.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man. His leadership skills are unmatched. His track record unbeatable. His experience unprecedented.
We'll continue to manage the economy prudently in order to achieve more growth and raise the standards of living of all Kenyans.
He is a man on a mission to turn Kenya around, and he succeeded so far in only 5 short years.
Today, I am delighted to join you all in celebrating this important milestone in our efforts to get the livestock industry back into production. And we are back into production.
His leadership skills have seen the country achieve unimaginable growth rates, 7% and counting the last year alone, the highest in decades. He's privatized industries, brought back a spirit of investment, encouraged local competition, and made us all proud to be Kenyans. And now he's asking Kenyans for another chance to prove that he's the right man at the right place at the right time. He is Mwai Kibaki, and he was born to lead. He was born Emilio Mwai Kibaki on November 15th, 1931, in Gatuyaini village, Othaya division, Nyeri, the 7th and last born child of Kibaki Gathinji and the late Teresia Wanjiku. Young Kibaki's formal years were like any other boy his age. He herded his father's cows, learned carpentry in school, and during school holidays, worked as a turn boy for a local bus company to earn some extra money. After primary school, he proceeded to Mangu High School, where he successfully completed his O-levels. With his grades, he was accepted to the prestigious Makerere University in Uganda, where he studied economics, history, and political science. It was here that his political activism was born. He served as chairman of the Kenya Students Association and the vice chairman of the Makerere Students Guild. He graduated in 1955 with a first-class honors degree in economics and earned a scholarship to the prestigious London School of Economics. He went back to Makerere in 1958, where he taught as a lecturer. In the meantime, the calls for independence from the British were getting louder and louder, and the country needed the services of its preeminent academics and professionals. So in 1960, he quit Makerere and returned home to join the Kenya African National Union, or KANU, one of the African parties pushing for change. In 1962, Kibaki met and married Lucy Muthoni, and they would go on to have 4 children: Judy, Jimmy, David, and Tony. Independence finally came in 1963 after a long struggle with the British. It also inflamed the ambition of the people of Kenya. It opened up new industries and economic prospects. Kenyans could now determine their own future and elect their very own representatives. Mwai Kibaki therefore became a people's representative in 1963. He ran and won the Donholm constituency seat in Nairobi, now Makadara. He was made parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Finance from 1963 to 1965. That same year, he was appointed by President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta as Minister of Commerce and Industry. In a short space of time, Mwai Kibaki had become a central figure in the development, stability, and prosperity that came about in the early years after independence. Soon after, he was made Minister of Finance, and this was the familiar picture Kenyans knew him by, with briefcase in hand on budget day. Under his stewardship in the finance ministry, the economy grew an average of 7% during the 1960s and 70s. Farmers were being paid high prices, coffee and tea industries expanded, and horticultural production began. By quickly establishing a manufacturing base, Kenya became the leading supplier of goods in the East African community. Even the oil crisis of the 1970s failed to prevent the momentum of Kenya's growth. Kenya was enjoying the windfall of good governance and wise leadership under the stewardship of educated and qualified technocrats like Mwai Kibaki. In 1978, a nation in shock mourned the passing away of its founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. As the baton of leadership passed from one leader to the next, as mandated by the Constitution, Vice President Daniel Arap Moi became the new president. Kibaki found himself side by side with the incoming President Daniel Arap Moi, a position he served with dedication and loyalty for more than a decade. Around here, he was simply known as the man next to the man. Kibaki was re-elected in all subsequent elections in 1979 and through the 1980s.
Mimi Mwai Kibaki naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, na nitaitumikia Kenya kwa moyo wangu wote, na kwamba nitaihifadhi, nitailinda na kutetea katiba ya Kenya kwa mujibu wa sheria iliyowekwa. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu msaidie.
Carved a reputation as a conscientious and diligent government minister who operated with seasoned professionalism. By the end of the 1980s, the clamor for political change was gaining fever pitch. Politicians from the opposition were galvanizing together to ignite what was to become known as the Second Liberation. Kenyans had found their voice, and the winds of democratic change were sweeping the country, and Kenya was taking its destiny into its own hands. Saw the repeal of Section 2A of the Constitution that had removed the right of Kenyans to form political parties, and a new provision in the Constitution that would limit the presidency to 2 terms. It was at this point that Mwai Kibaki would have to make a decision that would determine the future of his political life and that of the nation.
Indeed, history in one clip, and that the part 2 of that document